Hi, everybody. This is Corrine Forrest, and today I want to talk to you about how to be happy at work. Of course, being happy at work is a giant topic, so I am going to narrow it down into how to be a good team player. Now, how this ties into being happy at work is for two reasons. One is that work relationships are key to your overall job satisfaction. So anything that you can do to be a better team player and get along with your coworkers better has a tendency to increase your overall satisfaction with your life. The second reason is that because being a good team player helps you network and it helps you advance your career later just by all the good relationships that you've built as you've worked your way up through the organization. Now, I was thinking about this because we talk about being a good team player. We ask it in all the interviews. All the interview panels that I ever sat on, whether it was to hire somebody or promote somebody, always had a question about, we work in a team environment. Tell me how you are at being a good team player. And of course, the only answer is, oh, I'm a fantastic team player, and to give an example of such. So it's become such a buzzword that I wonder if people don't even stop to think about what it means to be a good team player. So that's what we're going to talk about. In my mind, there's two aspects to it. There's the individual contributor and, you doing your work as part of a team. And then there's the team contribution that you make when your work becomes part of the team's body of work and trying to get them to the project finish line or to get the mission accomplished here. So let's cover the individual contributor first. Two tips here. This is all about making yourself trustworthy. You want your team to trust you. So I pulled one tip that builds your character and one tip that builds your competence, okay? Because trust is a factor of both your character and your competence. So on the character side, my recommendation is that you work very hard to meet your deadlines. This means that it teaches your team to trust you because odds are good that the work that you're doing, your individual contribution, is feeding into a larger effort and somebody on your team or on the team is actually waiting for your work product on that. So they want to know that they can trust you to deliver when you say you can deliver. So it's a character issue to be able to set and meet those deadlines. The second tip on being a good individual contributor is that competence piece. So you want character to say, I can meet my deadlines, and you want competence by taking responsibility for the quality of the work that you turn in. Okay. So this means that you might need to ask for help. Particularly in the tech industry where I came from, we were highly paid technical people. And so we all thought that we had to have the answer right away. And that meant that a lot of people didn't ask for help. And I really think that that is a mistake. It's not the most efficient way to get things done. And particularly, I came from the government and I had to use many, many different software systems and database type applications in my job. And one thing the government is not known for is developing a good system with a good user interface on that. So they were all bulky and complicated. And so it behooved me to ask people who were using those systems, how do you make this better? How do you make it easier? How do you get around this stupid thing that I have to do 3 times in the system? And so asking for help was part of my taking responsibility for the quality of my work, because the less time I spent on all that administrative stuff, the more time I was able to spend on my actual work to make it of a higher quality. So those are my 2 tips on character and competence, meeting deadlines, and taking responsibility for quality on being a good individual contributor. So the second piece that I thought about was being that good team contributor when your work has to become part of the pool of work that your team is doing here. And I came up with 4 different tips on this one. So the first tip is dedicate yourself to reaching the team goal. Now, when I was thinking about this, and I wrote this in the blog post, it made me think of a vacation that my husband and I went on years ago to Jamaica. And we booked a tour to climb Dunn's River Falls in Jamaica. So we were gathered, there was a group of about 20 of us, and we were gathered with our tour guide, whose name was Bone Marrow in the good Jamaican tradition here. And Bone Marrow was talking to us about the process of climbing Dunn's River Falls, which was like right behind him. We could see it when he did that. And he said, we are going to hold hands all the way up in one long chain of people. And someone asked why, and he said, because if one gets to the top, we all get to the top. And then he looked at us and he said, and if one of us falls to the bottom, and he paused, and the rest of us said, then we all fall to the bottom. And he gave us a really funny look, and he said, no, we pick that person up and we continue climbing so that we all get to the top. And that's exactly how you want to be about being dedicated to the team goal. If everyone is dedicated to get to the top of the waterfall, we're not going to let other people stumble, but we also know that if we stumble, that other people have our back too, and that we're all going to reach the goal together. So tip number 1, dedicate yourself to reaching the team goal. Tip number 2 is about thinking positive. So we're all involved in projects at work typically, and there's a cost, a schedule, and a performance aspect to all projects. And in the 32 years I was out there, they changed all the time. Budgets got plussed up, budgets got taken away. Schedules got moved to the right, schedules got moved to the left. Requirements changed all the time. Requirements creep is actually a thing in project management. It's so known. So the thing that's going to happen is change all the time. And I want to encourage you as a team to think positively about those changes. How can you take advantage of that change, even if it's a negative change, like your budget get cut? Maybe we have to put on our creative thinking caps and learn how to do something a little bit more efficiently, or even go back to the customer and talk about requirements being cut because the budget was cut. So let's think positive about how we can use those changes to our advantage. The third tip under being a good team contributor is getting to know your teammates. The best way to do this, I found, is to actually travel with them. You know, you spend hours either waiting in an airport or on the airplane or driving with somebody. You can't talk about work all the time. At least I can't talk about work all the time, and I'm pretty good at talking. But that opportunity to just get to know them a little bit better. I'm not saying you have to reveal all the ugly. You don't have to be their best friend, or they don't have to be your best friend. Just share some interests, some likes, because it's kind of natural for us humans to want to make connections with each other. And so when someone is talking, our brain is scanning for a way that we can connect. And the example that I have here is I was talking to a lady that I worked with, and I just happened to mention that I was going to be getting a puppy soon. I was really excited. I had just put a deposit down at the breeder for that. And then I found out, just by me saying that one little comment, that she was a certified dog trainer. And so that became a connection point that we could talk about in the future whenever we met. So my fourth tip on being a good team contributor is to express your appreciation for your teammates. This can be a simple thank you, I really appreciate that, I know you went the extra mile. Or if they're not comfortable with kind of that verbal praise or even praise in front of the other team, I used to just stop by people's desk and put a sticky note on their keyboard that said, thanks, I know what you did, I know you went the extra mile, I totally appreciate it, I owe you one. And that kind of relationship building is very key. So my 4 team contribution tips are: dedicate yourself to reaching the team goal, think positive, get to know your people, the people you work with, and express appreciation for the work that they do for you, even if they're just peers. So with that, I want to remind you that work relationships are key to our overall happiness with our job, which is key to our overall happiness with our life. Now, leaving you with this from the lighter side, this has nothing to do with teamwork, but I thought it was funny because we've been in this COVID environment for 11 months now, is I saw a little sign that said, wash your hands as if you've been cutting up habaneros and need to take your contacts out. So with that, I will leave you. Have a great week, and I'll catch you next week.